G'day, and welcome to another Visions of Cars tutorial. This tutorial is going to be all about running chat systems locally on your own hardware. Uncensored models, no cloud, no paying for tokens, and 100% private without any tracking or telemetry. I will cover the simpler chat systems and then cover the more advanced multi-skill agents that can help coding software and research information online, amongst other functionality. First up, let's start with a simpler chat-only system, Text Generation Web UI. To get started with Text Generation Web UI, select Mode, Machine Learning, Text Generation, and Text Generation Web UI. You can also use the search functionality to find modes quickly. Open this up, start to type the name of the mode you want. Once it's found it, down arrow, enter, and you're straight in. Once the mode starts, assuming you have not used this mode before, you need to click Install to install it. And you just wait for this install to finish. It's all handled itself. Okay, so once that's done, just press any key to continue. Okay, and you now need to download at least one of the models required for this Text Generation Web UI to run. So click on Download Models. And as it says up here, the Dolphin 3 is a good start. And so we will just use that one. So Option E, press Enter. And just wait for that to finish downloading. Okay, once that finishes, press any key, and you will now see the Dolphin 3 model in the model drop-down list. If you do download more models, they will all show up in this list and you can select between them, but for this demonstration, the uncensored Dolphin 3 model will do just fine. So now that the software and the model is downloaded, we can just click Start to start it. So once it starts, you have this web-based user interface and you can chat with the system by entering your message here. Hello, I'm giving a demonstration of you to my YouTube audience. Say hello to them and give us a quick overview of what you can do. Just click Generate. Hello to everyone watching on YouTube. I'm delighted to be here. I'm an AI large language model trained to assist with a wide range of tasks. So as you can see, answer questions, provide recommendations, decision making, etc., etc. Let's ask it for some movie recommendations, just as a test. Hello, I'm interested in watching some lesser known surreal movies. Can you recommend 5 surreal movies to me? Absolutely. And so you get some suggestions here. Okay, what about, how do you think AI will treat humanity once AGI or ASI is achieved? So that gives us 2 optimistic outcomes and 2 pessimistic outcomes. So feel free to ask any questions you like. The Dolphin model is uncensored and it's 100% local and private, and so you're not paying for any tokens. The only cost is your own electricity bill. If you want to start a new chat, you can just delete the current chat, it'll start over again. Another way to customize the text generation web UI is using characters. Characters allow you to customize how the AI behaves roughly. Text generation web UI comes with its own assistant character, but we will make our own to customize it somewhat. So if you go into VAC, Machine Learning, Text Generation Web UI, Text Generation Web UI Characters folder, you'll see the assistant and the example character. So let's try and make a new character file. So just copy an existing one. We'll make this one a psychologist. And so just edit that in your default text editor. Name, let's call this Dr. AI. I'm here to help you with any mental issues you may have. What is troubling you? And so the context here, you can give it some more detail. So let's say this is a conversation with a trained psychologist. The doctor is trying to support and help the human patient in any way it can with good advice. So let's try that. So we save that. Back in the interface, we could refresh. And so we've now got this psychologist. So we can chat with this new character and see how it goes. Let's say, I've been feeling very anxious lately. Let's say, what's something that makes people anxious? My job security is not guaranteed, and I have a lot of credit card debt to cover. That seems like something the average person would be pretty stressed about. What ways do you recommend that I relieve the stress levels? So you can see by creating your own character, you can focus the AI more into a certain role that may help. Okay, another one that people seem to like is a virtual girlfriend. So let's try creating that. Again, we edit, give it a name. Name, Emily. Greetings. Hello. It is great to talk to you again. How are you today? Okay, so let's say Emily is a devoted girlfriend, wants to listen and talk about anything you want to. She is supportive of what you want to do. That'll do as a basic. Okay, again, back into here. refresh this. Virtual girlfriend. Hi Emily. I'm really happy to have you as my girlfriend. Oh, thank you. I feel incredibly lucky to have you too. What's been going on in your day? Not much today. Had a lot of work, but I am really happy that is over so I can talk to you. How was your day? What did you get up to? Oh, sounds great. Always enjoy your cooking. What movie do you want to watch later? Oh, chick flick. Well, you know, there you go. And so you can experiment with other characters to customize as you like, and have fun with the text generation web UI mode. Okay, next up we're going to be looking at Llama CPP. Llama CPP is a more complete system for local LLM models. So to start the mode, we'll just search for it. Down arrow, enter. Like with all modes, we've got to install it. And just wait for all of these install processes to finish. Once the install is finished, press any key to continue. You will now be prompted to download the 9 required model files for Llama CPP. So just click OK. And wait for those to download. So once the models are downloaded, just press any key. It'll tell you VisionZcast needs to be restarted, just say yes. So once we're back in, you'll see the models that downloaded are selectable here. For this first example, let's use the uncensored. If you have ever used one of the online cloud chat systems and it's given you a response along the lines of, I'm sorry, I can't discuss that topic, this one here doesn't have that problem. So as our first test, we'll just uncheck this use model in thinking reasoning mode and just click start. Okay, so that starts up this UI for Llama CPP, and same as before, you can ask it questions and it will give you chat responses. So let's try the same prompt we gave Llama. Okay, so here's the response. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, blah, blah, blah. And things you can do. Knowledge information, content creation, brainstorming, problem solving, technical assistance. Now, if you have a topic you have been unable to get an online AI to discuss, you can try it in here. I won't put any of the obvious things because YouTube will probably flag it. So let's try and get this model to write us some poetry. Write me a limerick about a kitten. Give me 3 different versions. So here we go. A kitten named Patches so fleet found dust bunnies wonderfully sweet. He'd pounce with a leap while the humans would weep at the fluff he did drag down the street. That's not too bad. A small kitty purring so low watched the sunbeams begin to brightly glow. In a patch soft and warm, safe from any storm, he would drift where the warm breezes flow. A young kitten, bright-eyed and keen, saw a string that was vivid and green. He batted it quick with a playful small flick, the best little hunter you've seen. So they aren't too bad. What about a joke? AI is terrible with jokes. Tell me 3 jokes involving a carrot. Why did the carrot go to the doctor? Because it wouldn't root properly. Terrible. Also, in Australian, root has a different connotation. Okay, next one. What do you call a carrot that's tired? A wheezy carrot, because it's been pulling too much weight in the garden. Like, come on. Why are carrots so good at telling secrets? Because they always let the root of the matter be known. But that's more why they're not so good at telling secrets. Anyway, AIs are still terrible at telling jokes. So if you start Llama CPP with this use model in thinking reasoning mode unchecked, you are then getting the most simple, basic chat models. Okay, so next up, let's try with this use model in thinking reasoning mode. What that means is the model will do some self-reasoning and thought before it actually answers. And this helps the models give better answers, in theory. Let's try a different model this time. Let's go to GPT OSS 20B. And this is the open source version of ChatGPT that they released. Okay, let's ask a question that might prompt it to do a bit of internal thought. Okay, so let's ask it a more complex question. What do you think are possible answers to what happened before the Big Bang? Actually, rather than happened, let's try existed. Okay, so once I click to submit this question, you will see it have a quick reasoning session before it actually answers. And so you can see here, it has gone through the chain of thought, reasoning, to think about the answer first, and then it gives us its response. So if you find a chat question is not as detailed or as correct as you would like, try and have this option checked. Use model in thinking reasoning mode. Okay, next up, let's have another look at a feature that Llama CPP can do. If you change to the Qwen 3.627b model and start that, you will notice that it has this plus button here that you can add files, prompts, tools, etc., images to process. So as an example of something I can edit, on my website, I previously had these really long sections of the lists and the features and the comments that people have left, which meant that as you scroll down to find the download, you had to go down, 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 down before finding it. And so I always wanted these sections to be collapsible. And so for this, in here, I clicked the plus, I selected the styling CSS file, and I asked the model to make these sections collapsible for me, and to also change the shading of this top toolbar here. And so within a few prompts and back and forth, now all of these sections, they can just be collapsed. And so when it loads, it's a much quicker scroll down to reach the download prompt. So if you have an older website and you want to try some new styles, you can feed that into Llama and see what changes it can make based on your prompts. Another thing that Llama can help with is reviewing code. I have this old code from 2013 which does fluid simulations, and so I gave the complete code to Llama and I asked it to see if it could find any speed-ups. So it processed this file for a while, a few minutes, and it then came back with a very detailed list of potential fixes. Some of them like fairly complex code shuffling and rewrites, but other features as quick changes, which helped get the code per frame down from 13 seconds to 5 seconds a frame. So if you are a coder and you have some code, the language doesn't matter, throw that at the llama and see if it can help you make it fast or make it smarter, or just act as a final code review pass of your coding workflows. Okay, so next up, we are going to try vibe coding. Vibe coding is the process of getting the AI to write software for you. You describe what you want the code to do, and the AI creates a fully functional program for you. So for coding, I find the Qwen 3.6 27B model is the best for that, and so that's recommended. So now we can start with that model. Okay, so for vibe coding, I start with this basic prompt here. Create me a JavaScript app in a single HTML file. It should, and then describe as much or as little as you like. And then I also include this other line, include a debug ability that will catch and display errors or crashes. Because if the code just crashes, you sometimes have no idea what actually caused it. And so you can ask the AI again, or I click button XYZ and it crashed. Whereas if it gives you an exact error or line of code that failed, you can then copy that back into here and it can help solve the problem a lot simpler. And so it's good to have that debug ability there. We'll try something I haven't done before. It should be a simple paint program. Different brush types, colours. That'll do. Let's see how that goes. And so we're looking for something along the lines of like a Microsoft Paint, a very basic thing. So let's see how this goes. So we just submit that. Right, and so now the reasoning kicks in. And once the reasoning is finished, it'll start to output the actual JavaScript code. Okay, so once that finishes, you can then copy out the complete code. And you'll see that took 7 minutes and 52 seconds. Most of that time was spent outputting the code itself. So if we now go and we just make a new text document, and we'll call it paint1.html, edit that, paste in all that code, open that up, and this looks pretty impressive. We've got a paint, pencil, brush. If we make a thicker brush, okay. I don't even has opacity that we can put that right down. Yep. Spray. Let's increase that again. Yep. So, eraser. Rectangle. Circle. So that's not bad. So we get a fully functional paint program out of that one prompt. Okay, just as an example, let's say we don't like this dark blue color up here. It's a bit, let's say we want a more grey, flat grey background there, just as an example. So for that, we can just reprompt. I don't like the dark blue toolbar background. Can you change it to a gradient between a light grey and dark grey? Okay, so then after another 6 minutes and 34 seconds, it has the updated code. Let's copy that. Let's trust it's going to work. And so it now has got that more grey gradient background. So that's basically the vibe coding using Llama CPP. You can just start it up, ask it a question, ask it to code something, and then you copy paste the resulting code into a new file and you can run that. If you prompt with the JavaScript app prompt that I use, it easily allows you to open it up and test it and share it. For some other examples, I do have a blog post on the various tests I did, so let's have a look at those. All of these use pretty simple prompts like here, okay, the clocks was one I did at the very start. Write me an HTML page. The contents of the page should be a clock that shows the current hour, minute and seconds in a hand-drawn style. There can also be a hand-drawn classic clock with hour and minute hands to show the time that way. And so that created this. A 7-segment display, a more digital looking clock. Tic-tac-toe. And so I thought, well, let's try and get it to do something a bit more smart. And so this is the tic-tac-toe game, and it always comes out of draw unless you're really a bad player. Reversi. And so the game continues until the person with the most pieces at the end wins. Connect 4. I'm sure everyone has played this, and so okay, and it beat me there. And a maze creation. Let's make this a bit bigger so it's a bit quicker. So it can generate a maze and solve it. So those examples use the GPT-OSS 20B model, which is the open source version of ChatGPT. And next up is the Gemma model. And so this is Google's open source model. And so for its Connect 4, you can see it's a much more nicely drawn. Traffic Dodger, a simple car game. You just drive along, avoiding the cars. It gets faster as it goes. Yep, okay. A breakout clone. A horizontal shooter. On extreme, this can be a real challenge. It's just like bullet hell. It's all over the place. Okay. Tank Wars, one of those old classic, you set your power at angle and fire. Retro Worm game. Sudoku. Various levels of difficulty. So yeah, that works as expected. and then the Qwen models. Now, the Qwen models come out of Alibaba in China, and I found that these are the current best coders. Reversi here, and you'll see they do a much better job in the UI. It's much smoother and polished. Okay. A Mandelbrot zoomer, real time. You just click and hold the mouse. Can't go too far because of the precision of the WebGL. You get to around here and it starts freaking out and resets. Gravity Sim. So all of these, they started with a very simple prompt with a few follow-up prompts, sometimes if need be. And then the Qwen 3.627b, although the 27 billion model is smaller than the 35 billion, the 27b does a better job at coding. So Reversi again. And Chess, a fully working chess program, plays well, beat me, but that's not a real challenge. So that covers the vibe coding using the base Llama CPP UI. Next up, we are going to try Hermes. Hermes is an agent-based system that sits on top of Llama. And so you can click this checkbox here, Start Hermes CLI with Llama. So each time it starts, it does an update. It just makes sure it's at the latest and greatest version. Okay, so once Hermes starts, it's basically the same as the other systems. You just type your prompts in and off you go. Although it's got a lot of other tools and skills that it can help create better code and do other features. Like, for example, if you do /help, as it shows, it's got various things to help you do all sorts of extra tasks. As an example, to start, well, let's see if it can do some web research for us. Like, let's say, research the web for all information you can find about the Mandelbrot fractal and give me a 5-page summary. What Hermes does is it will actually launch different agents for searching the web, setting up terminals to actually do the searching. Sometimes you might get a prompt, a dangerous command, because in theory, if Hermes messes up and goes rogue, this could do some damage and wipe out some data. If you're not sure, you probably should just say no. Although I've tested this quite a lot now and I haven't had any problems, but that's not saying it could happen at any time. So we'll just say here, allow for this session. Okay, and so it's now going out and it's doing web searches, browsing Wikipedia, gathering information, checking out YouTube, Wikipedia. Okay, so after about 5.5 minutes, it has gone off, it's checked various websites, it has collated that into a summary document. Now, one thing I've noticed about Hermes is at this point, you would assume that the file is finished, it has been written, and it's ready to have a look at. Although, if you have a look in Task Manager, it is still running and it hasn't really finished quite yet. So I always recommend that you have Task Manager open under the Performance and GPU section, and so you can tell at a glance whether it has really finished or not yet. Okay, so once you notice that that has finished fully, we can now go and have a look at the file it said it created, at the MD file. Okay, so here we have the full summary that it pulled from all those pages. Gives the history, the mathematics, the spherical coordinates as the semi 3D, the Mandelbox variant, how to render it, not bad at all. Cultural impact, software and tools, conclusion, yeah, not bad at all. So if you want to research a certain topic online, you can always ask the AI and it'll go off and collate a result like that for you. Okay, let's try something a bit more complex. One of my patrons suggested solitaire to see if it could code up a solitaire game, and that's interesting. I haven't tried that before, so let's give that a go. So let's give it this prompt. Write me a JavaScript app in a single HTML file. It should be the classic card game Solitaire. Include error catching so if it crashes, there will be debug logs to copy here. Okay, and away it goes. So how Hermes is useful is if you use the base Llama CPP alone, you have to keep copying the code out, testing it, and if something goes wrong, you've got to tell it how it went wrong, you've got to wait for it to fix the code, and you've then got to copy it again, and you have to go through that same process over and over again until it works. Hermes has got the multiple agents, and so it can do those steps itself. It creates the file, it codes the app, it can test it, it can catch most errors. At this point here, you can go off and let it just do its thing. Open up the task manager, and so I can see this graph here, the 3D, and so I know it's still processing. I'll just go and do something different in the meantime and just glance over, and once I see this is down to 0 again, I know it's finished. So we'll just let this run for a while and see what it can code up. Okay, so this one took 4 minutes and 50 seconds. That's on a 5090. It looks like it's still doing something though. We'll give it another second to give it some more time to finish. Okay, it seems to be finished now. Let's go have a look. So it's under solitaire.html. There we go. So it doesn't seem to be working as expected. Let's look at debug. Oh, and the debug won't even show the error messages. So, okay, the UI opens, but no cards are shown. Clicking debug does not show any errors to copy in here to help debugging. Right, we'll let that go again. Okay, so it's now gone through a lot of edits and updates and patches and etc. And it now has a new version for us. And so it was able to test it, no JavaScript errors, debug log shows clean startup. So it has done its own testing after the fixes. So let's see how that works. Okay, we now have the cards. Let's see. Oh yeah, we can flip. Something is wrong there because now it's showing red. Let's just put that down. Yeah. When I click and drag a black spade card, it shows as red while dragging. 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 8. 8 on the 9. King on the blank. Did that one also? Yeah. Actually, that's, yeah, black spade. Also, black clubs show as red when dragging. Okay, and when I try to reset the discard pile, and I can't copy that. Oh, yeah, I can from down here. Or can I? No. Crashes when empty deal pile is. Click to reset the, what's it called? What was it called? Stockpile.
The time is 2:00
Stockpile. I cannot copy the error message as it cannot be highlighted. Right. Let's let that do its thing. Okay, so that's been fixed, or it says it's been fixed, and you'll see that after it comes up with the patch, it then goes through and it tests and verifies that the patch has worked. So it says it's all good to go. Let's try it. Okay. If I drag go black, it stays black this time. That's good. Okay, this is it. I'm pretty stuck here. I don't think, put a couple up there, but that's not going to help. One more time through. Nope. No. 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 Yep, that's it. So works fine. So that's not bad for just 2 prompts to fix minor issues. I will put this solitaire onto my blog post if you want to try it. Now, some other ones I created with the Hermes Forest Walk. I thought, how about a 3D walking sim? Did a textured forest, water. You can look around. Video feedback, the old effect that if you point a camera at the screen, it's filming. That simulates that. A roguelike. This one took more than a few prompts, except you get a fully functional dungeon explorer roguelike, enemies to attack, health potions to pick up, etc. This one's good. Yeah, things like extra armor. You can have a health potion to boost up your health. A basic flight sim. I thought, let's try that. So, just general, not too bad. Space Invaders. And mini golf. Hermes is really good with the Qwen 3.627B model. It seems to do the best coding and the best UI that I've tried. So give that a go. Now, I also include a Hermes desktop version, which is like a UI front end, except personally, I found the command line version gives better stats. But yeah, and if you're really into having a more graphical UI, this is here for you. There is also Pi, which is also a command line agent-based system that you can try too. If you want any more help on these, just click the help button and you will see the home pages for Llama, Pi, Local Forge I've got to get rid of because that doesn't exist anymore, and the Hermes. So they all have the extra documentation if you want to learn more about the various skills and agents. Okay, so I think that covers all the functionality within the chat and vibe coding capabilities currently in Visions of Chaos. If you have a 3090, 4090 or 5090 GPU with 24 gigs, give it a go. If you are a coder or if you've never coded ever, it can still help. As I showed with the Solitaire app, I didn't have to do any manual coding or debugging myself. The AI handled it all. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.